Nobody supports the creation of a Palestinian state outside of some Palestinians, not all, some, and the axis of resistance. Outside of that, nobody supports the creation of a Palestinian state. That's a statement of fact. You can't contradict it. And the reason why I say some Palestinians is I take a look at the Palestinian cause, and outside of Hamas and a few other offshoots, you take a look at the Fatah and you take a look at the Palestinian Authority. They are de facto agents of the Israeli government who are paid to suppress Palestinian statehood aspirations. Straight up statement of fact. Cannot be disproved. The Israelis pay Palestine.
That's true, but I don't think you can lay the blame at Palestinians, even the one that defected and became Israeli collaborators. I think it's still the fault of Israel for engineering a society that people feel the need like they have to betray their own people. I mean, we're talking about the worst humanitarian crisis on earth, and I don't think we can incriminate the Palestinians themselves for doing whatever they have to do. At least from an outsider perspective, I mean, if you were Palestinian, I could understand if you had some sort of critique, as Rashid Khalidi does in his 100 Years War on Palestine book, and as he's stated in many interviews. I still think of it from the vantage point of U.S. imperialism versus indigenous nationalism.
To suppress Palestinians. They pay Palestinians to kill Palestinians. And they do this all the while Israel is engaged in a policy of eliminating any potential infrastructure that could be used to create a Palestinian state. The Abraham Accords was a disaster for the Palestinian cause. It greenlighted Israel's continued acquisition of Palestinian lands in the West Bank. And so if you're somebody who believes in the creation of a Palestinian state, to be honest, prior to October 7th, 2023, my position was if the Palestinians aren't willing to fight for it, why should I care about it? It doesn't matter how justified they are. It doesn't matter what history. It doesn't matter about the Nakba. It doesn't matter about any of it.
I don't know about all that. I feel like we could flip it back on Scott Ritter right there for a moment and be like, if you're not willing to fight against the U.S. government, which is causing the destruction of Palestine, then how are other people supposed to care? Yeah, but what kind of fight, what do you expect these people to do? I mean, they are afforded every excuse in the book, in my opinion. Yeah, they're surrounded and checked every mile. They're checkmated. They're under an illegal blockade. I mean, the list goes on and on. We know the historical record here, but he's saying, oh, prove it to me, Palestine. It's like, no. The U.S. government needs to be dismantled for its actions in the Middle East. And if anything, it's on us. It's not on the Palestinians.
Aren't willing to fight for it, then why should I care? Why should I care about this? This is how, when people say we're going to Gaza, we're going on a flotilla to Gaza, I say, why? Why are you caring so much about something that it seems the majority of Palestinians don't?
Well, again, I mean, you're making a speculative value judgment on the Palestinian people. It's like a psychological assessment or something. You have no idea what these people's social, I mean, you claim to do, that you do. I'm surprised to hear you sort of hold the Palestinians in contempt, you know? They're fighting against their own annihilation, and oh my God, so what if they have given themselves to apathy or doomerism? I mean, what, you need to see their whole bloodlines have been annihilated. You need to see more blood and suffering and more anger out of the Palestinians for you to take up their cause and fight for their cause, just because it's, you know, it's not enough that it's just the right thing to do.
Palestinians have been fighting for Palestine for decades. I mean,
then why did they surrender?
When?
Why did the Palestinian Authority take CIA money, take Israeli money, and surrender
the
to
Palestinian Authority is, you know, a collective of
Damn, I'm really shocked by Scott Ritter right now. Even though I ultimately agree with the assessment geopolitically, not internally to Syrians, or I'm saying a broad stroke here, that the fall of Assad is, you know, like I said before, it's a win for the advancement of U.S. imperialism, and it's a win for Israel. But I don't like how I think he's bitter, and he's placing his blame on the victims. The people, like, you're shaming the victims for their behavior. And it's like, who knows, you know? Who knows what the Israeli state has on these Palestinian subcontractors? I mean, they're being held at gunpoint. I mean, what do you expect? These people, they're going to start thinking about their immediate families and protecting them over, you know, this idea of national sovereignty. It's self-preservation. I don't see why Ritter is so hell-bent on blaming these people. I think he's sore about the fall of Assad, but then he's going to blame the Palestinians for, you know, some of them being subcontractors for the Israeli state. I mean, Let's be real. What you're mad about is that the Assad regime has fallen.
You know,
It's what happened
the elite,
in Syria.
and just like the elite of any other country will sell out the majority, you know, so that they benefit the most. I mean, Palestinians themselves do not appreciate or like the Palestinian Authority.
Then why'd they overthrow them?
Well,
Where's that revolution?
well,
If you're going to sit here and tell me you can overthrow Bashar
Jesus.
al-Assad, you better.
Oh, Jesus, this is gross. What the This guy's the whitest Palestinian. Oh no, say it ain't so, Scott, just go back to just being a dispassionate UN weapons inspector, please. Save all the fireworks.
Boss.
yeah.
All right?
Well,
don't
that,
sit here and tell me it's so wonderful to get rid of Assad. For the Palestinians, you can't get rid of a boss. You're going to let that son of a bitch sit there since 2005, not have an election, oppress you, sell you out to the Israelis, and allow the United States and Israel to take you down a path where
Bro is so emotional. He didn't have his coffee this morning.
every avenue for Palestinian statehood would be shut. You do know that if Israel had normalized relations with Saudi Arabia and
Did you see Ahmad? He was like, anyway, my next question, what is that going to be? he's like, man, let me go ahead and wait for this all to be over with.
in October or November of 2023, as they were preparing to do. That was it.
I know, he does kind of seem like a complete cokehead right now. He's like, why did I invite this guy? Well, I mean, I think Scott Ritter gives really great geopolitical analysis. I mean, he's very well read. He's dialed in to what's going on. But I think when it comes to his moral compass, it's a little lacking. I think it's he's choosing to get fired up about what is his anger in the service of? It's anger towards Palestinians. Has this man lost any children to Israeli snipers?
Set match. There would never be a Palestinian state because it was all over. That's why Hamas did what it did. Hamas did what it did because nobody else in the Palestinian side was fighting for him. That's a statement of fact. And I'm tired of hearing about
that's
saying
true. I mean, you know, Hamas, for the reason that Hamas was elected is because they were telling the truth. At least, at the very least, you could say to the Palestinians that Hamas was honest with what their platform was. Going back to the Second Intifada, and even before then, the 90s all the way leading up to the Second Intifada, the Palestinians were, you know, and I know I'm another white dude speaking on behalf of the Palestinians, but this is from Palestinian sources themselves. You know, they were growing disenchanted, frustrated by what Scott Ritter is bringing up, which is that the PLO, the PA, the Fatah movement was all bought and sold by Israel. It was, you know, the Oslo Accords installed these Israeli collaborators in government, and you know, nothing materially changed for the Palestinians. They didn't have their right to self-determine. They didn't have their right to, you know, their land resources and labor. So the Oslo Accords didn't change anything, and so they started peacefully protesting, and then, you know, Hamas comes along and actually participates in the election, and they're, you know, once again, like, proposing militant opposition to Israel. And, you know, that's what made Hamas relevant. But even so, I would still say that Israel is the aggressor. I mean, let's not get lost in the weeds here. It's Israel, it's the United States. We're not going to blame the secondary contradiction. It's almost like, yeah, I mean, maybe Scott Ritter needs to read Karl Marx or Chairman Mao, because he's getting lost in the sauce, and he's blaming the secondary subordinate aspect in this contradiction when he should be blaming the principal aspect, which is Israel, which is imperialism, which is the United States, which is the actual aggressors, which are the actual...
there's elites this, elites that. You can't sit here and talk about getting rid of Bashar al-Assad.
Exactly. Thank you, Name It, Maine. I know. We always love to just find another analogy in the historical record, and it's like saying, why didn't the Jews take down Hitler, right? Why didn't, I need to see it from those in the Warsaw Ghetto that they really want it. Why can't we see in Auschwitz that these people want it? Well, they're being starved to death. It's just, it's weird. It's kind of, I think bro has got a screw loose. He probably just hasn't been taking his medication, or maybe he's overly medicated. I don't know. Hey there, this page has been permanently demonetized by YouTube, so if you would like to help me continue making content, support me on Patreon for just a few bucks a month. At the very least, please follow my backup page on YouTube. The link is in the description. Thank you.